We are on the phone with Dr.Group, and we were just talking about toxins and EMF and the effects that they have on our lives and about what we can do about it. What can we do about it, Dr.Group? How do we defend ourselves? How do we take control of our health, of our family's health?
Well, the first thing is to be educated about it. You know, obviously listening to Alex and listening to all of us and learning about going through your kitchen and learning about what the chemicals are that you're putting in your body. And then also, you know, paying attention. You know, we've done a lot of research in developing the Survival Shield X2 and the InfoWars product line, InfoWars Life product line over there, using, you know, very state-of-the-art equipment and processing technologies that we're going to be showing you some behind-the-scenes footage of fairly soon, and I'll be talking through some of those videos. But the best thing people can do is to drink clean water, number one. Drink clean water, and I always add organic apple cider vinegar in there, raw organic apple cider vinegar. Right here, if you want to look at some of the things that we're doing, especially with iodine, that's one of the most important substances that I've found that can help restore your health, because there's so many conditions of hypothyroidism out there, and there's so many conditions of iodine deficiency. So what we do, how we start with that, is we get the purest iodine crystals that you can find from deep in the earth, like Anthony was talking about earlier. And these are high purity. That's 99.99% pure iodine crystals.
Now, let's be clear, though. That is the highest purity grade in the world right now. And,
yes.
And you're the only one providing that.
Yes, it is. We've gone through to great extents to be able to solidify this source, because we test every batch of iodine that's coming in as well to make sure it's pure, to make sure there's no radiation in it. Some of the other companies out there are using iodine from sea sources, and I'm not saying that could be contaminated, but with everything that's happening with Fukushima right now, and Fukushima pretty much going critical, and, you know, all the
well, you know, whether it's from a sea source, it can be good if it's pure, but we've made a decision right now to transfer to this key process where it is 7,000 to 10,000 feet below the earth. And it's interesting now how, amid all of this, we just looked at this with Dr.Group and found this to be the key thing. But it's interesting now, all these stories coming out from the World Health Organization and others, such as this one that just came out: pregnant women need iodine supplement, doctors say. But they don't tell you what kind of iodine to take. They give you the, you know, bad iodine. The iodine that is better than nothing that the government is hoarding, but overall you can't be taking on a daily basis. You know, they give you potassium iodide. And that's not something you want to be taking on a daily basis to protect yourself. It's something that you only want to take if you're seeing a mushroom cloud come up.
Right. It's an emergency measure, right?
Or if you're
just fill up the thyroid so that you don't absorb the radiation so quickly into your thyroid.
Exactly.
So it's just a blocking mechanism.
It's a blocking mechanism. Or you could argue, really, that with all of the sodium fluoride in the water supply, that it's basically like we're seeing a mushroom cloud right now, and it could be beneficial, and it's better than nothing. But we weren't satisfied with better than nothing, so we had to go with the real serious nascent iodine from the actual crystals deep within the earth, and now we've transferred to this whole new process. And what Dr.Group was saying is basically this is the front line of defense against the toxins that are going into your body. This is the front line of defense we've found, according to the research, according to the experts, the front line, and that is why it is called Survival Shield, and now we have X2.
We've been seeing pictures of the crystals. They've got a very good source of iodine taken from 7,000 feet below the Earth's surface. Why? Because they want to make sure that it's not contaminated with radiation from Fukushima. Many sources of iodine use seawater, or they're taken from a shallow area where it could be contaminated. So they get it from very deep below the surface. They test it with for radiation presence. And we've just been talking to him about solutions to the toxins and the EMF that you come across in your life. I mean, he's talking about how those things affect you negatively. And Dr.Group, what can you tell us about the lab there, about the process?
And let's just be clear, this isn't just about iodine. The reason this lab is so key, and the reason why Dr.Group is so key, is because as they go around prescribing people antidepressant drugs, they're also shutting down natural manufacturers that have super high quality grade manufacturing techniques.
Yes.
Dr.Group's lab is literally a jewel of the natural health industry. It is the best. It is the highest state of the art. We should be thankful it exists, and we should fight for it. So anyway, thank you, Dr.Group.
Well, thanks. Yeah, this is behind the scenes footage, and this is very rare because most manufacturing facilities will not let you back behind closed doors. Because we're so transparent and because we want to show people, you know, the whole processing, we want to show how effective it is. This footage is made available exclusively to the InfoWars Life team and InfoWars customers. So right here, what you're going to see is you're going to see the iodine production room. As you can see, we use all glass vessels. You'll see a vessel mixing the actual iodine, and this is very rare. You know, these vessels are extremely expensive. They're made of borosilicate glass. I'm going to tell you from touring hundreds of manufacturing facilities in the past that nobody hardly ever uses full glass vessels. They use stainless steel, which can be contaminated, and especially when you're dealing with iodine is a oxidizing substance, you want to make sure that it's done in all glass. So it's a lot harder to do. Everything here is made by hand. I'm going to take you over to the quarantine room here, which is where all the ingredients come in. You know, this is very important because they all have to be tested. They all have to be approved. They have to be tested for microbes and make sure they're clean. It's what we ordered before they're released from quarantine. And when they're released from quarantine, then they can start going into production. The next thing that I'll show you is the V blending room, and this is how you actually mix the powders. The InfoWars Live team is going to be introducing some really high-tech encapsulated products here very shortly that we're working on. And this blender is how you actually blend effectively. If you have 8 or 9 ingredients in a product, you would need them equally mixed. And so this is how you do it the right way right here.
This looks like something from a futuristic movie from 2099 or something.
Yeah, it's really cool. After it gets blended, it goes on into encapsulation. Now, the encapsulation room, we have individuals in there that are doing it by hand on semi-automatic encapsulators. You know, this is what any capsule that you take, I mean, any capsule that you see or that you get from any vitamin store or anything like that, this is the process that it goes through if it's done in a CGMP certified or CGMP compliant facility.
And I think you're downplaying yourself. You use silica glass because you don't want to get metals to contaminate the actual everything you're producing. But specifically, a lot of the capsules come from China, and that's why they're toxic. You know, this is actually made in America, super high quality, CGMP certified, Dr. Group's laboratory. Like I said earlier, it's not just about the iodine. It's not just about the products. The fact is that there's virtually no other factory doing this to these standards, the purity of everything he's doing. And we should appreciate that even if we're looking outside of the amazing nutraceuticals that he's producing, because the FDA absolutely hates the nutraceutical companies that really are doing the right thing. And in reality, that's why we also see a lot of these companies offshoring their work to China, where the manufacturing process is dirty and full of contaminants and stuff like that.
Do you think in China they really have a quarantine area where they bring new materials in until they make sure they're cleaned? Or do they do everything in glass? I mean, do they even use stainless steel? I mean,
yeah, one of the videos Group was showing has a containment area where every single thing he was bringing in, he was testing, not only for radiation and everything, but for other items as well. And there's actually a chain link fence around it, and it's locked with a deadbolt type lock. No one's even allowed to go in there. It's just to separate the super pure products from anything that's new and untested yet. And anything that's tested and it's below the standards, which are basically 000 across the board, it's discarded then or sent back.
Yeah. We've got Dr. Group on the line while he's still with us. Dr. Group, anything else you want to tell us about your laboratory there?
And recap on basically the health solutions and what we can do, as you were explaining, to reclaim our health and to, as you were saying, the water in our bodies needs to be cleansed and detoxed, or else we'll never achieve optimum health.
Okay, well, let me just go back to the facility. Yes, we try to do everything as organic as possible. I mean, we even had to find VOC-free organic epoxy coatings that were FDA approved and had to go through some of the approval processes for the epoxy flooring on the floor. The paint on the walls is organic clay paint. I mean, everything from the ground up at our facility is organic and chemical-free. One thing we didn't show you is the liquid processing room. You're going to that on the screen right there. That's very high tech, and of course, there's all of the FDA standards in any type of processing room. We have to ensure that those are there, and it's stacks and stacks and stacks of paperwork that we have to fill out to make sure everything is cleaned properly with non-toxic cleaners. You know, most companies, like what you were talking about in China, they use toxic chemical cleaning products. Ours are OMRI listed. Another big factor is what you're going to see is the distillation room. The distillation room, we use triple distilled water. That's a big water distiller right there, and it takes.
Well, again, for radio listeners, basically, you explain that the purpose of the triple distilled water and why you distill it 3 times.
Well, the triple distilled water is an ultra pure energy enhanced water. I mean, the more you distill water, it actually changes its structure at the 3rd, the 6th, and the 9th distillation.
You are watching the best of the Alex Jones Show, weekdays from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central. Watch live at Infowars.com/show or become a member of InfoWarsNews.com and help us take resistance to the next level.